Congratulations. You obtained your CDL, you completed your over-the-road training, you have your new company ID, the keys to your steel horse, and now you're ready to hit the road. After 13 years, I can tell you it's not that simple. So I put together a few tips that might just help you along the way in your quest to conquer the highway. Number 5, paperwork. Paperwork is vitally important to you getting paid. So don't leave it in a mess in the seat like you see here. You never know what'll happen when this happens. Oops, I'm missing a lumper receipt. You need it nice, neat. Buy yourself a folder, something to always stick your paperwork in. That way you know where it's at and you can keep track of it at all times. Secondly, try to scan your paperwork before you ever leave the customer. This way you ensure that the sales department receives what they need for payroll to process your payment and you can get paid. The last thing you need to do is go hunting down bill of ladings at the end of payroll. And don't forget to stamp your detention. Alright, detention stamps are cheap. Whatever company you're with, everybody has their own stamp. I made over $3,000 last year just in detention. Alright, and make sure you scan it on time. Like I said, I do mine usually before I leave the customer. If you can follow some of these tips, it'll help to keep you from losing paperwork and keep your pay rate right, because after all, that's what we're out here for. Number 4, communication. There's one thing I can promise you about trucking, and that is, if it can happen, it will. So always communicate with your fleet manager or their coverage to make sure that everybody knows exactly what the situation is. Whether it be an accident on the highway that's got to shut down, whether it be weather related, snow, rain, extreme wind, whatever it may be, ice that is holding you up, or even if it's just simply one customer is taking so long it's going to make you late to the next customer. Communicate that with your fleet manager immediately upon knowing that there's going to be a problem. And then wait for their response within a reasonable time. And that way you understand that everybody is on the same page. Number 3, clock management. Clock management is a problem for many new drivers. They're not used to running solo, so they don't understand how important it is. When you've been out in your training, you've had 2 logbooks during the TNT phase, so your trainer doesn't necessarily care so much because someone's always got hours to run. When you're solo, that's not quite how it works. So make sure that you run your clock the way you need to get your loads accomplished. People have different views on this. Some people only want to run 8 hours a day. I am not like that. I like to run as far as I can every single day, and then I'll worry about the small hour days at the end of the week. There's usually enough freight to always get me a load no matter how many hours that I have available. And I just want to add something to that, guys, and that's making sure you're on the proper duty status. A lot of new drivers waste a lot of time because they eat up on duty time. Guys, when you go and get fuel, go on duty for your fueling, but the minute you pull up to the yellow line, make sure you go off duty outside a truck when you're inside using the facilities and getting something to eat. Same thing when you're in a sleeper. If you crawl in the sleeper, make sure you're in a sleeper. If you're up front in the driver's seat hanging out watching YouTube, but you could be right now, you need to be off duty. If you have any questions about that, contact your log rep. They'd be the ones to help you to understand exactly what duty status you need to be on depending on what you're doing. Number 2, take your time. Alright guys, so take your time. Alright? My number 2 and number 1 are just as important for each other, but I put number 2 as take your time. Don't let anybody else rush you. Whether it be backing into a parking spot, whether it be trip planning, whatever you need to do, you need to take your time so that you can be successful out here, okay, and conquer the highway. You're not going to do it on someone else's time schedule being rushed everywhere. So take your time, all right? When you back up, get out and look. Slowly back up. Listen. If you hear a noise you ain't supposed to hear, stop before you damage something too bad, okay? Take your time with everything you do. Don't get in a hurry. Don't get rushed. All right? Know what you're doing. That's a big key to being successful out here. Number one, be prepared. Being prepared is a big deal, whether it be fueling your tractor or even your trailer. Having it set at the right temperature, having it pre-cooled, whatever it may be, always be prepared for the task that you are about to take on. Go, get that trailer washed out before you ever arrive to the customer so you don't have to worry about them rejecting it. Show up prepared. It is such a big deal, guys. It really is. If you're prepared, when something pops up that's unexpected, you'll have the time to deal with it without it affecting the end result of the load. All right? So make sure you trip plan well. Make sure you know your fueling stops before you head out. So make sure you know where you're going. Make sure where you're going to take your break, where you're going to sleep for the night. Have a plan in place. Now, you may have to change that when you're on the go, right? That happens all the time to all of us. Things don't quite go as planned. You have to make some adjustments. But have a plan in place at the start, and maybe things will work out for you. You know, being prepared is such a big deal. I mean, customers love it when you show up on time, trailer fueled, trailer washed out, you're ready to pick up the load, and you're ready to get to that customer on time. 100% customer satisfaction on time, and the best way to do that is to be prepared, okay? So y'all take care of yourselves. I hope this helps you out, gives you a couple things to focus on to help maybe you be successful in conquering the highway, okay? Because that's a big deal. I want all of you to be successful out here. Is it gonna happen? No, it's not, all right? But are you gonna be one of the ones that fail, or are you gonna be a success story? That's what I wanna know. Everybody needs to be a success story. Strive every day. If you're not gonna go all in, don't go in at all. Don't do it at all, all right? So you're solo now, you've got responsibility. Get out there and get it done. And I'll see you somewhere down the highway.